Hello. This is the Hip and Cool podcast. This is the Hip and Cool community. Like, how are we doing, people? Like, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Hello, y'all, and welcome back to the Hip and Cool podcast. Welcome back to. Today we have a fun episode that I was kind of thinking about. I feel like I have a new kind of way that I want to take the show, and let me know in the comments if you think this is fun or not. I was thinking about bringing on a few of my friends, asking them about certain topics, or bringing them on to talk about things that I think I enjoy hearing them talk about, and just seeing where things go with that. So today we have one of my very good friends, Zak.
Hello.
We're sitting in a parking lot right now.
Small parking
Oh,
lot
you gonna
specifically.
put us on blast?
Oh, wait, the hops are coming. Oh, let me start driving. We got all this whole setup going. We got to redo it somewhere else because, listen, yo, I set our location. It's scary. We in Louisiana.
No, yeah, we're in Yeehaw, Louisiana. Slumming it up.
This looks like a parking lot, but it's a farm.
Right.
That's what people really need to know.
You saw that cow pass by in the
Yeah,
back?
people don't know about us. We farmers. We got our coop right over there. We got the barn there. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that we keep that on the low key. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yo. So today, the topic I wanted to talk about that Zak has no clue what it is. Well, he kind of has an idea, but no clue. I'm blinding him right now with this topic.
I did tell her, like before, I was like, I do not want to know what we're talking about because I don't want to, mentally, prepare for it.
We had a little bit of a lighting change, so we're back out of the dark. Today's topic is going to be control.
I didn't know that part, but that's all I knew.
Do we really need control, Zak?
In general,
do we really need control?
I think so. I think it's good to keep things under control. You know what I mean? What we need mainly might be control over ourselves, and rather than control of another person. But I think there are things that with control that we can let go of, for sure. If things are overall, a lot of the time are better under control than they're better when they're not. You know? What do you think? What, you think everything should just not be under control?
No, but I don't know, because I've been recently thinking about control, and even in the last episode I was talking about control, and how a lot of people who have anxiety, they try their best to find the little bit of control that they do have, and they go into control freak mode with that. They'll make sure whatever TV show they're watching, they've watched it 8 million times, so they're not surprised at what goes on. So I guess from my experience going through that, in the past, my head, I'm like, control is really about what you do when you don't have any.
True. I think so. Because I think a lot of the time we're balancing what we can control and what we can't.
Right.
Because, when people are just, say you're, tripping about something, and then someone's like, stop worrying about the things you can't control and worry about what you can.
Right,
that's what people be saying. So, I think a lot of the time, we can control things from a place of, not being able, from a place of impotence.
Right,
almost,
right.
From a place of, I'm not able to actually do something about this, so I'm going to do something about that. I don't know if that's, a negative point of view. I think it also could be just kind of, a realistic one. There's so many things that we can't control.
Yeah.
There's, so many things that, actually affect our lives that we can't control. There are a lot of things that we can control. For example, you mentioned, people who, might feel a lot of anxiety over things in their life, so, they kind of focus on, even, the figurative aspects of their life, and they kind of just, or, the intangible aspects of their life, or, some things that, for example, their favorite TV show, not really have, a big impact in their, maybe, their future or something like that, but, they still are gonna grasp on to, get a control over that. But I think there are things that, even if it's not in front of you, there are things that you can control. I don't know, I feel like, the future, for example, you can't control the future, but, you have a level of, I feel like people always have a level of leverage over their own futures.
But that's interesting, though, because it makes me think about kids. And a lot of times, and I mentioned this again, too, Bell Hooks was the kids are the most marginalized human beings ever.
I agree.
And it's a lot of times their futures are being controlled by their parents. A lot of times, I remember you were talking about how someone was like, oh, like da da da, like, are you sure you want to be a doctor? And you were like, well, like, this is what I want to do. But then there's people out there who, like, you ask them why they're being a doctor, like, oh, like, my family wants that for me, and that's just like who I have to be for them. I'm not even interested in this for my own self. Or even, like, think about people who maybe weren't pushed to become doctors, but know that they're going to make a lot of money doing that. So that's what they choose to do. So, quote unquote, is that really being in control of your own future if they would much rather be baking instead of being an artist, being a doctor, but they're doing it because they know that's going to be a locked and loaded future, like, with money and stuff. So it's like, if it's not societal pressures, it's like familial, and if it's not that, then it's like your own, like, pressure that you're putting on yourself. So part of me is like, where does the actual, like, you reside?
That makes a lot of sense.
And where do you get
I think just like the part of you, like, where that would reside is just your choice to do so. You know, like, okay, like, they might have chose to do it because of money or whatever.
Right.
At the end of the day, like, they did, like, sign up for what, say they want to be a doctor for their parents or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, they did have to, like, study for the MCAT and then go to school for it, take those classes. Like, they did have to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Control is just, like, whether somebody takes authority over it or not.
Over control or themselves?
Over their choices. Like, for example, like, say they might do it, but they're like, oh, I did it because of this. I did it because of that. I did it because of that.
Right.
Then you're kind of relinquishing control. But if you're like, I did it because I wanted to, then you're owning it.
Like, no matter if it is for your parents, even if it's you chose that and you're standing 10 toes.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on whether you take authority over it.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. So, like, control could not only just be, like, what you do when you know you don't have any, but it can also be, like, oh, like, what you choose to put your name on. Because they call it, because, like, even at work, like, my supervisor was telling me, like, what you put your name on is your bond. And like, you don't want your name to be considered this, like, thing you just flagrantly do whatever with. So, like, are you standing firm in your beliefs and thoughts? Or
it depends on whether you put your name on it.
Right.
Like, I agree with your boss. No, she made points there.
What about control and, like, fear?
What do you mean by that?
Where do you feel like fear really plays in control? Because I feel like a lot of times, out of fear that they won't have control, people don't do a lot of things. Like, for example,
people do crazy things.
Yeah. Like, for example, you were talking to me just today about how you were like, oh, and I think it was yesterday, how you want to draw something in pen, but you were like, I don't know, I can't go back and change my mistakes. And it was like, well, what happens if you just take a shot in the dark? And that's just something small, like, you know, drawing. But I'm talking about, even, it could be something as small as drawing, or something as, like, changing your life. That, oh, you don't want to do something because you're afraid that, like, you won't know what to do. Like, say, like, someone wants to change cities or something like that. Like, what role do you think, like, fear takes in control? And do you think that a little bit of fear is good, or do you think that, like, we should always be in pursuit of that, like, control?
Because we got to put our finger on what fear is.
Right.
So I guess fear is just mainly, like...
I guess fear, like, you want me to describe what I mean by fear?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think everybody in this world wants to try their best, right? To succeed in any way that means, whether it's for themselves, whether it's for society or for their family or whatever.
It's
so,
for
like,
success, yeah.
Right. So, like, I think fear for a lot of people stems from the fact that they're not going to reach that level of, like, success, or they're not going to reach that level of homeostasis, like, or happiness or whatever. So it's like, fear is what we do to avoid those feelings of discomfort.
Yes, I feel like it's, like, the avoidance of it. It's really like the, okay, so what does it have to do with control? Fear is just kind of like, because I feel like most people are kind of, like, afraid of things that they've never done before, or things that they're not familiar with. I feel like it's kind of just, like, a natural thing. Like, even just a human instinct type. Like, say, like, you're somewhere that you are all the time, and then you just step somewhere that, like, you've never been before. You're gonna naturally just feel a little bit of fear attached to that.
Right.
I think that there are also people that fear having control, too.
That's true. But then they say that, like, leaders are best when they're appointed, not when they stand up to the plate. Because I've realized that, like, people who lead, who are like, I'm a born leader, blah, 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 I realize that those people are the worst leaders.
People do too much. Those are the motherfuckers that do too much.
No. They're, like, power hungry. But when I realize, like, oh, it's the shy person, the person you would never think of that's leading, I'm like, oh, we're getting shit done. Like, we're all together. We're gathered. Because this person, they let go of that control by being like, oh, I'm on the sidelines. But when they were appointed to that position of quote unquote control, they're coming at it from a person who knows they don't have any control.
I think also control can be a thing that we attain out of fear.
Yes.
Like, I think it's something that, like, if we just let things, like, go loose, at the end of the day, the reason why we're gonna make sure everything is, like, gathered together and we gotta make sure shit's under control is because we're scared of what might happen if shit gets loose.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I think the question is whether the fear is grounded or not.
But that's where I was getting with, when you had asked me today, how have you been, Sana? And I was like, I had to let go of being in control to get it back. That's what I meant. Part of me is realizing that a lot of times when you really feel like you have things on lock, you really don't. You're really just rolling with the punches. And I really had to figure out what that meant for me, and what it really means to just understand that you do not have control. When I said, because I read this book, and the guy Eckhart Tolle was talking about how when you're upset that someone treated you a certain way, there's no reason to be asking why. Like, what's the point of being like, oh, this person did something to me, why? It's like, you don't need to, like, now intellectualize, oh, this person grew up like this, or this person hates me, and so there's something about me I need to change, or blah, blah, blah. Like, figuring out why someone did something is not really going to get you any more control. Or, like, even getting closure from a situation that happened with somebody isn't going to get you more control over that. It's only going to let you realize that you have even less control than you thought. Because regardless of how much knowledge you have over a situation, at the end of it, you have to face the music that whatever it is over, that person did whatever it is to you, or whatever. I guess that's why I think control is a very forward-thinking thing. It's not this thing where you go in the past and try and get it. If you attain knowledge about something, you should be then using it to help you move forward. You should not be like, oh, well, like, yeah, now that I have closure on why this person did this to me, now I can go back and, like, like, no.
Yeah, no, we not you.
No,
that's not something we gonna do. That's not something we gonna do. Imagine you get more new information. You think, actually, let me go back in time real quick. No, we're like, not doing that.
It's so low vibrational. You need to be getting on some.
That's so ghetto, yo. No, because I saw a tweet the other day that was like, it was someone who was like, oh, it was a girl. She messaged this dude, and she was just like, she sent him pictures of her, and then she was like, oh, like, this is what you fumbled, and then he was like, man, what?
Like, what? That is some low down, dirty. Like, what are you hoping to
what are you talking
from
about?
that?
Like,
you know? Stand up, my girl. Like, my sister in Christ, stand up.
Yo, no, but I just feel like with the question why, like, we should never ask ourselves why, because realistically, like imagine asking yourself, like, I don't know, I would never ask myself why. I feel like why is the only question that you should ask other people.
Okay, that's gonna be the next topic.
Oh, we tapping into that.
Yes, let's talk about why we should not talk about why.
Oh, wow. So she was ready for that. Yeah, mind y'all, I did not know nothing about this. I'm going in blank. They're gonna think this is a charade now. They're gonna think this is a charade. No, this is the real. Why we shouldn't talk about why? I mean, I feel like we should, like, say, for example, like I want to ask you, oh, why is this like this, or why do you make the tripod? Like, I feel like I can ask why to other people.
In general, I think why is that's how we find out things about the world.
But I don't mind even like say like I broke up with someone. I feel like it's not out of pocket to be like, why did you do that? And
I think that a lot of people, because there's that whole, this pissed me off, this whole mindset where people are like, oh, you don't owe anybody this, you don't owe anybody that. I'm like, you owe a dog respect.
Like, really, these people are so dumb. Like,
and it's like, especially if you spend X amount of time, even if it's 2 weeks, you spending time with somebody because you know how a lot of people are cutting their friends off cold turkey nowadays, like, with no explanation, no nothing. It's one thing if the friend is a garbage person and no, like, you know, whatever. But like, if you had a genuine friendship with somebody and you cut them off cold turkey and you therapy
very weird.
No, for real.
Very weird.
Because people be therapy speaking, they're like, oh, I just feel like you and I are going down different paths and like blah blah blah. And that's completely fine, but like, you didn't even tell them like, hey, like, there's something I feel like you did, like, let's literally talk about it. Like, you're not interested in growing with that person at all. Like, and part of me feels like a lot of this therapy speak like mess is like, what's going on? Like,
that's
are you
stupid, yeah.
Are you actually interested in like making genuine connections, or are you just like, oh, this person triggered me, goodbye?
Yeah,
it's like, no.
Yes, I know people like that too. It's like, it really is just like, okay, we just got, yeah, I think that's dumb.
Because I was watching this TikTok and this girl was like, y'all want community, y'all talk about a community on TikTok, blah, 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 and you really, really want to gain community in your everyday lives, but you're not up for the bat. You're not.
Because a lot of the time when it comes to community, I feel like a lot of the time they want what community serves them. But at the end of the day, community is real work, like real shit. Like, it is like, I saw a video that was like, I think this was on Twitter, you probably saw it too. It was like this person's like family member died or something, and then like all their neighbors, they were bringing them casseroles, and like they had like a camera in front of their door and showed all the people coming to the door, and it was so cute. And it's just like, this was
really nice,
right? And it was something like somebody was like, oh, like if y'all want this to happen for you, then you guys really gotta tap into the community, right? Like because at the end of the, like, this only happens for people who like tap in,
right,
you know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, it's like people like the videos and stuff like that. You really gotta go to the kitchen. You gotta make a casserole, and then you gotta take it to somebody's house. Like it takes that much. And on top of that, you're only one person, and like the community could be like 50 people. That means you gotta make 49 casseroles for everybody to make you. Like, you know what I mean? You're always gonna have to end up giving more than you get, and a lot of people aren't ready for that.
They're not ready for that. When I go back to Barbados and I see how community is made over there and like built over there, everybody tends to, like you said, give more than they get. And a lot of times it's upsetting to see that this cannot be replicated here, because I don't know many of my neighbors. And you would think New York City is a big city, like everybody would be able to like do that too. But you don't you really have to like find your niche communities places, because a lot of times people are afraid of getting murdered. So like so there's just a fear of one another like linked into our communities too. So I'm not gonna completely sit here and blame everyone, but oh, you don't have community, so you're an idiot and you don't work hard. A lot of times we're built to fear one another.
Like it's just, I feel like that's just in American culture.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of just like even just like, I was talking to my coworker. We had this one patient, and this patient, he was like combative and stuff like that. No, he was telling me about a patient that was there before I started working there, and he was like saying crazy things to workers and things like that. And then he said one time, right? And then my coworker, he said, oh, like when you're out of here, you could catch me at my place or whatever. I'm like, dude, don't say things like that.
Right, because you don't mean that.
Because no, I just operate under the mentality that like people can have anything. You know what I mean? Like I feel like even like I'm not saying that like even the most harmless person might have to, but I feel like you should be ready for people to have anything or do anything. Like I feel like at least be ready for that. Yeah. Because it's like, that's just a dumb thing to say. Yeah. And then I was like, don't say that. He was like, if he pulls up to my place, I got this gun under my bed, this gun under my bed. He said he has 11. Oh, wow. I was like, what you need 11 for, dude? I was like,
I feel like 1 or 2 is
right,
fine.
like 1 or 2 is good. Like, you're gonna be like, you're not even gonna get a chance to whip out all 11. Say you took out 1 against you, and then you take one. Like, that's, I'm sorry, the 11's OD, but like I feel like that just kind of taps into that, where it's like a lot of people just kind of have the mentality where it's like, oh, I have to like have guns under my bed in order to survive. But even
in The Alchemist too, like the Englishman. Because when they got to the Oasis, the guy was like, oh, like everybody has to let go of their weapons and stuff. And the main boy was like, well, I don't have a weapon. And then the Englishman took out his revolver. And the boy was like, I don't know, why do you have a gun? He goes, it helps me trust people.
That's what he said?
That's what he said. I was like,
that's how those English niggas work. That's how they work, I guess. That was such a good book. That was such a good book.
I didn't finish it yet.
You didn't finish it?
No, I didn't finish it.
Wow.
I have like 70 pages left.
Oh, 70 is a while too, because that's like halfway.
Yeah, it's more than that, because there's
so you're at the Oasis now, though.
Yeah,
because that's when it gets good.
He just professed his love to this girl.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Yes. Okay. No, because I didn't expect that. There would be like a little love story.
Yeah,
it was cute, right?
I thought at first she wasn't jacking him, but she was like, oh.
No, she was. She
liked him.
No, that was cute. That was cute.
Control is really about hoping for the best, doing what you can and hoping for the best.
Honestly, because I feel like lately I've been kind of feeling more of like a sense of control over like my future a little bit more, towards just like, okay, like I'm studying for the MCAT. I'm gonna like take this test. I'm gonna see where I could do with there. I'm planning this with money, blah 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 blah. And I feel like that's really just my mindset right now. Like really just kind of playing with the cards in your hand and just hoping for the best at the end of the day. Like, and I think that really kind of goes into all control. So I don't know. So kind of let's tap into the first question. Like, is control a bad thing or a good thing? I think sometimes it's a necessary thing. Ooh, I think so. I think, okay, because I think for control is good when, you know, you're doing it from a place of, like, you want to guide people towards what's right rather than you want people who are just going to be subservient to you forever. Because say, like, you're working somewhere and then you are around people and, like, you know, you're running a tight ship and you're making sure everybody doing what they got to do.
Right.
But then it's like you would want to guide people to know as much as you. To make sure that everything is done the right way. And eventually, inevitably, they're all going to learn as much as you.
Right.
And at that point, it's more just kind of keeping the ship under control rather than one another.
Right.
Rather than if it's like the second thing where it's the person's controlling from a place of subservience, then it's kind of just like, I never want you to know as much as me. You just
need to stay below me all the
time.
And
you need to always listen to whatever I say because I always know best. That is control from a bad place.
Yes.
So I think it just kind of depends on the way that people go about it.
Interesting. Because I was thinking more of control of like, do we as individuals have control over our decisions, our path, or whatever, or is it like kind of fate?
Oh, shoot. I think if there's a degree, well, it's just the belief systems, right?
That's true. That just goes into how you operate in the world. It's a mix of everything because there's like a difference between like to control someone, the verb, and control as the noun. I mean, like control versus to control.
I guess, yeah, that's true. When you're controlling from a place of guidance, you're not controlling just to control. You're not thinking, like, that word is probably not even in your head. But on some level, it's just like you're not thinking about the person, you're thinking more about, I've been using ship analogy, so you're thinking about the ship. You're
thinking about the whole, not the parts of the whole.
No, but yes, exactly.
Because there's a lot of managers who micromanage, and they're thinking more about the parts. They're like, oh, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this, as opposed to like, oh, how can this person help out the collective?
See, that's my thing. I used to always say my pet peeve was micromanagement. I hate when people micromanage me. Like, it's just like you do this little thing, well, I like directness, I guess. I don't mind being told what to do as long as it's super direct and it's super like if you were like, Zach, run over there, grab me that, and then come back, I would be fine with that. You know what I mean? But if it's more just like if I'm doing something, it's like do it specifically this way. Right. Do it this way and go about
like
I'm just like
the methods.
Yeah. Yes. I don't like people when people control like the way I go about it. As long as the end goal is the end goal, right? I think that's why. Remember when my job they were talking about training? That's why I did not like that. I was just like, why are you telling me the way I just do my job?
Yeah. Because a lot of times people, that's another thing. Because this goes into micromanagers and parents. I think a lot of the time, people who know they don't have or feel as though they don't have control over their own lives have kids and want this to be subservient to them, or become managers and want these people to become subservient to them, because in some way them controlling the people in their lives to some degree will then give them control over something. Will then make them feel less shitty for not having the control they have in their personal lives.
I think that's what a lot of people, probably people controlling for that like intention probably comes from that insecurity, like from all aspects. Like if somebody's controlling someone just to control someone, they're doing it from a place of like they feel like they're just not successful.
Yeah, and that's like I said too before, where it's like if you really know about control, it's you understanding you have none, or you understanding that you relinquish control. So like. Yes.
So
that's bringing us to the final topic.
True. Because I think because I did mention like the future, right? You know what I mean? Because I think on some level, like we also don't have any control over our future. Like we really just got like anything can happen.
So that brings us to the final topic.
Okay. I'm so ready. Alright, so future is something that like you really don't have much control over, right? Because it's just something like during like tomorrow anything can happen. There could be like a hurricane and this entire mall can be destroyed, right? Or something like that. But we're not at a mall, we're at a farm. But say that happens. But like on some level it's like you still have to plan despite that.
Yeah.
You still have to be prepared despite that. You have to take small pieces of like what you like, even if it's like you only have control over 0.01% of the future, you gotta grab onto that 0.1%.
Yes, that's what Eckhart totally talks about too. He's like, yo, if you feel like you don't have control of the situation, he made the analogy of like being in quicksand. Accepting the moment isn't you sitting here and being like, oh, I'm in quicksand, I accept that and I'm resigned to that. It's being like, oh, I'm stuck in quicksand. I'm present with that. Accepting that you have no control, or accepting a moment in general, is not you resigning to it. Be like, oh, I'm stuck in this job I really don't like. I'm just going to sit here then.
Yeah.
And I accept that. It's like, oh, I am present with the fact that I'm in a job I don't like, or I'm in a situation I don't like. I'm stuck in this quicksand. But I'm going to make positive changes to get out of that. Whatever that looks like. Whether that looks like applying to somewhere else. Whether that looks like, trying to grab onto a stick because you're in the quicksand.
Because you gotta do something. You're in the quicksand.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, like imagine you say quicksand, you start. Oh no, I'd already be looking for rope.
No, for real. Like,
yeah, you gotta keep an eye out.
For real. Like I feel like being present is really like taking stock of what you can control.
Yes, taking stock. Wow. Yes. I like that. I like that. And
be like, yo, even though like this and this I can't control, that's not helping me right now. How can I move? Like I said, control is about moving forward from the fact that you have none.
Because I think because that's just because you have to take what you have and move forward. And if like we said in the future, we don't really know what's gonna happen in the future. I think it's just like what you said, just you have to control in spite of, well, not control in spite of not having control.
Move forward in spite of.
Yeah, but I feel like on some level you still gotta keep the ship tight, though, right? You gotta keep things under control despite not having control.
Yeah.
Because you gotta keep things under a lid. You know, I think a little bit. Like, I'm not saying you gotta keep a tight lid, but at least try. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a super tight lid, or it could be like, things could be a mess, but at least on some level you should try to at least, keep things under, like, maintenance, I guess.
I put the word intention for February. Because I feel like, for me, I really am trying my best to live with intention, to speak with intention, like engage with people with intention, no longer quote unquote doing things for the plot, because I'm like, what is that mean? So I'm realizing now that like really what you can do under the fact that you have no control is being like, you know what, regardless of the amount of control I may or may not have, it's important to live with intention. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like, if you're going to do something, stand on its 10 toes. So that regardless of the fact that even though you have no control, even though, like, things may be chaotic in the world or whatever, you are moving intentionally so that whatever needs to happen can happen, despite the control that may be out of your hands.
I think that, like, on some level, when you do that, it's, like, kind of a twofold benefit. Because on some level, it keeps whatever you got going on under maintenance, while at the same time, things can just happen, and like you kind of feel like you, instead of whoa, what was that just happened? It's more like in like a, oh wow, that just happened.
Right, kinda. And it allows you to understand like things are subject to change. So like you don't want to be like, oh well, I have control, and then when you suddenly realize you don't, you're like, oh well, like shit hit the fan, I don't have control, I'm gonna cry. Like, it's like, no, like you're able to roll with the punches if you're more wording in like, oh, I'm just being intentional about what I do, blah blah blah. Like, I have the ability to adapt to change.
Life is really all about just rolling with the punches. Like, you really just gotta be rolling with the punches, because the punch is gonna come. Because it's gonna come.
That's what my sister told me. Like, when I was in college and I used to be crying because I wasn't sure I was gonna get that grade, because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get summa cum laude. I'm scared. I got it though. But I was like,
don't play with her too much, y'all. Don't play with her too much.
But I told my sister,
and she know every fucking thing.
I do, though. And I told my sister, I was like, Sharonda, I don't know if this degree is getting me. I don't know. And she was like, well, you know what? Sit down and cry. But the homework still got to get done. The homework still has to get done at the end of the day. So, cry, but patch your little tears, boo. You got to do your homework. And I'm like, real.
That's real though.
Rolling with the punches. Things are subject to change, but you have to be willing to adapt. So regardless of if you're not okay with that change or not, or with that punch, eat that.
Yes, you really, because you got to, because it's gonna come. It's gonna come either way.
Eat that.
So you really gotta learn to, because at the end of the day, because you don't want to like take a hit and then just be like freaking out all over the place. Because at the end of the day, you gotta move forward. You still like shoot, the homework's still there. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to, right? You gotta eat that. Yo, I'm so proud of her. Kinda, yeah. Good job, yeah.
We good with that?
Yeah, honestly, we can end on that note.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hip and Cool podcast. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining me.
Of course. Yeah, you know, I had to guest star really quick.
Goodness.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you.
Anytime.
I hope I'm hip and cool enough for y'all.
Oh my God.
Like, real shit.
You are so hip and so cool.
dead
Don't
ass.
even play.
Oh, okay. Come on now.
Oh my goodness.
Now.
I'm so appreciative for those who stayed and have been watching.
Me
these past
too,
couple
though.
episodes.
Me too, though. That's crazy. Like, they people really gonna be watching us just, you know, chatting it up.
Yapping.
Yeah, just yapping. Yo, people could, yo, I'm excited to see what y'all gotta say or something. I don't know.
Yes, leave comments down below what you guys think about this episode. What do you think about control, and what do you like? How do you envision that in your own life? How does control really control you? I hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I hope you are choosing love always. You think they choosing love always?
Oh, they better be. They better be. Come on now. They better be.
Well, it was so good to talk to you, Zach.
Oh, it was Sana. Come on now. That's family, y'all. That's family. Come on.
Oh my God. Have a good rest of your day, y'all. I love you. Bye.
Bye.